Hello and welcome to the channel everybody. In this video I'm doing my review of the new Cammus direct drive wheelbase, the C5, in a tiny little package. I think this wheel is really going to probably start a trend, and I have a feeling that this wheel is going to be replicated by other brands, especially for the entry-level market. I think what we saw with the Fanatec CSL-DD, that was then a trend with another few companies after that. And then now, with Cammus, I think we're going to see the same thing. This wheelbase is the first of its kind, and to be honest, when Cammus contacted me and said, oh, they were going to send me some 5 Newton meter base, I thought, oh, cool, it's probably going to be underpowered. But I said, sure, I'll take it. I'll do a review on it. I didn't know anything about it at that time, but to be honest, since receiving it and unboxing it and actually using it, I'm actually really excited about this wheel now. Genuinely, like I don't even know if I'm going to go back to my CSL-DD 8 Newton meter. I think what I'm going to do is actually probably keep going with this Cammus C5 for a little while, and I'm doing my review of it in this video, but I'm probably going to do a longer term review and let you know how it goes long term, if there's any problems with it. First up, let's talk about the build quality. I mean, I was impressed with the build quality. The proper kind of metal body, the real carbon fiber face, the nice clicky buttons, nice rotary encoders, the leather is a really nice, genuine Napa soft leather. It's nice and heavy. It's the build quality, in my opinion, on this device is actually really good. How long it lasts, obviously we won't know for months to probably years time to see how quickly it dies or doesn't die or lives on, but from what I can tell, the build quality is quite good with this Cammus C5 wheel. There is the little shifters on the back of the wheel, which are probably a little bit smaller than what you would think is probably going to be nice feeling, but at least for my bigger hands, they actually sit right in the right location. Maybe if you have smaller hands, maybe it might be a little bit more of a stretch, I don't know. But for me, when I wrap my hands around the wheel, it sits perfectly where it needs to. So on the build quality front, for me, it's a definite pass for the moment. But what about in terms of looks? How does it present? Some people might not like it. I don't mind it. It is a little bit different. Obviously, because it's got the direct drive kind of hub in the wheel itself, it kind of limits what you can do with the look of it. That is a slight trade-off, but I actually don't mind it. The wheel rim is a little bit smaller. Looks are subjective, and I don't mind the look of it. In terms of comfort, I am actually really comfortable, like holding that wheel for a long period of time. I've been on this for hours some days, and actually, it's really comfortable to hold. I really like it, actually. At the moment, because it's kind of new, my hands do smell of leather a bit. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. In terms of portability, This is probably a 10 out of 10. There is no more portable direct drive wheelbase out there than this Cammus C5. And you might think, oh, I'm not going to take my wheelbase to a friend's house anyway, and maybe that might be the case. But there are a lot of people out there that use, let's say, a Next Level Racing FGT Lite cockpit, and they fold it away when they're done, and they don't have room for a proper cockpit like what I'm sitting in right now. For those people that don't have a dedicated room for sim racing, this Cammus is actually probably really good. And not to mention, if you don't have a cockpit at all and you're just doing it on a table, your computer's sitting on a table, and you just use a table clamp to put it on and off the table every time you use it, it's light, it's easily portable, easily stashed away in the cupboard. I really like this camera. You can do that with a CSL DD, I guess. It's just a bit bigger and heavier and that kind of thing. This Cammus is just a really nice, portable, direct drive wheel. That's small, light. Absolute 10 out of 10 when it comes to direct drive portability. And I think that's going to be a massive plus for some people. I will mention what I mentioned in the first video as well about the table clamp. The bracket that comes with the table clamp I would also use for mounting to a proper cockpit like what I have here as well. I drilled the M8 holes so that I could mount it into the extrusion. But I think having the table clamp just gives you a little bit more adjustability on what you can potentially mount it to. Gives you the angles. It's not a lot extra anyway, so I recommend getting the table clamp or desk clamp as well. Now in terms of noise, it's obviously a little bit noisier than, let's say, my Fanatec CSL DD that I normally use. And that's just because the CSL DD is more passive. It doesn't really have a fan, whereas this Cammus, it doesn't have a fan inside it as far as I can, but it does have an external fan that kind of blows into it. That makes a little bit of noise, but I don't have any issue with the level of noise that it makes. It's not distracting in any way. The wheelbase itself doesn't seem to make any noise while using it. I have heard from someone else that theirs has, but mine does not. Mine is perfect. It doesn't seem to be making any noise while functioning at all. In terms of force feedback, which is probably one of the main things, I have been really, really, really impressed with the force feedback on this. When they told me it was 5 Newton meters, I'm like, oh, that's not going to be enough for me. I didn't think that I was going to be happy with the 5 Newton meters. I think they're actually saying it's 5 Newton meters constant, but it can actually peak to 6 or 7 Newton meters, which I think I've definitely found at certain instances. But because the direct drive motor is in the wheel itself, then you actually kind of get more force. For me, I found that this 5 Newton meter base feels more powerful than my Fanatec CSL DD with a 8 Newton meter boost kit. But yes, that's force feedback in terms of its utmost power, I guess. In terms of some of the finer details, I have noticed in some games here and there, I struggle a little with the finer details, but others are fine. But overall, For the way I set up my force feedback, it's fine, it's drivable. I haven't really had an issue. And again, this is similar to looks, where force feedback is a personal thing. Everybody likes something a little bit different. For me personally, I've been really happy with the force feedback. There could be a few more options to dial in the force feedback a little bit more, but for the most part, it's 80% there. Which for this particular price point, like, it's probably more than 100% there. Because if you're comparing it to some of the other cheaper offerings out there that are not even direct drive, the force feedback in the Cammus C5 is 20 times better than what you'll get out of a Logitech G29 or something, which is just a bottle of Nox. It's now let's talk about the software. Right, so here is the software. This is the main page that shows everything I currently have connected. Both these are connected by USB. When you go into parameter, you get all this. I set mine up to 900. I've loaded in different profiles for different games. I find my Fanatec CSL-DD, I run probably a similar profile in most games, but this one I've probably doubled in a bit more. So I've made the dedicated iRacing, ACC, AMS2, which are the main three that I use, and each one is very, very different. I'm definitely not running 100% friction in all games. Not that I've really done this 100%. It was just a vague... I spent probably 30 minutes in each one just going nothing to 100, nothing to 100, and then vaguely in the middle, and that's to just try and get it vaguely the way I want it to. But there's a lot more fine-tuning I got to do, so probably don't use these particular settings. This is my iRacing one at the moment, but I wouldn't necessarily go off this. Like I was saying in my unboxing and first impressions video, probably my biggest thing that I'm not a big fan of on this software is actually the rotary encoders, that I don't have an option to just go up or down. It's just like that. So for some reason I can't actually get the rotary encoders to work properly in ACC, and I think that might be an ACC thing. It might not be a Cammus thing. I need to do a little bit more research on that, but it would be good to have an option with the rotary encoders to just be able to go up and down with two buttons, even though you're going all the way around, and a constant instead of just a quick pulse like that. I think it would be better if there was a constant option as well. So it's just lacking a few options here and there. For the most part, it's got everything there. Just a few little things that are missing from the software that I would probably like to see. And a little bit more adjustability in some of the parameters. But let's talk about the price. So, on CammusRacing.com, you'll be able to get the Cammus C5 for $249 USD. The C5 and the CP5 pedals, that would be $299. $299. For the C5, CP5, and the desk clamp, $329. I would definitely recommend going the C5 with the desk clamp, even if you're not getting the pedals. But the pedals is not a lot extra. So, I mean, if you don't have a good pedal set and you're just looking for some entry-level pedals, these aren't too bad. Now, I will say, I did have an issue with these in the unboxing and first impressions, but I have fixed that now. It was just a loose grub screw in that shaft that runs down here, and that has now been resolved. As you can see, even when I lift off a little bit now, it's lifting off the throttle. So that's now been resolved. And of course, on top of the really good price, if you put in code STORM, you will get 5% off. Wow! It's a little bit cheaper, often already really good priced bundle. Obviously not just the bundle. Even if you're buying something else on Cammus, you can still put in STORM and get 5% off. So in terms of price, in terms of value, really, really good. Oh, I almost forgot. Well, I did forget. That's why I'm now in this room. And I'm nearly finished editing. Cammus are doing a giveaway. So if you want to get in on a Cammus giveaway, I'll leave the link down in the description below. I'm probably going to keep using this for a bit and do a bit of more of a long-term review. Just because they sent me this doesn't mean I'm just going to take it off now and go back to my CSLDD, because I'm actually really happy with it, genuinely. If you do want a little bit more of an in-depth look, it all pulled apart and the little bits it comes with and all that, check out my previous video, my first look video. That's probably got a bit more information about all that stuff. Feel free, if you got any questions at all, put them down below and I'll try to answer them if I can. And thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that like button if you liked it, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next video.